Welcome to the Idea to Value podcast, where in every episode we highlight the latest insights into creativity and innovation from experts around the world. I'm your host, Nick Skillicorn. I care about the evidence behind what makes ideas happen, and I've already helped thousands of people just like you through my unique insights into recent scientific findings of how creativity works. I also show you how to turbocharge innovation programs so they finally deliver on the value and ideas you've been struggling to execute. Get your free training on how creativity can be improved by registering now at www.ideatovalue.com. Now let's get on with today's episode. Hello everyone and welcome to another Idea to Value podcast interview. Very happy to have Stuart Semple with us today. Stuart is an artist out of Dorset in England and is become a bit of a celebrity in the artistic community at the moment because he's created the pinkest pink in the world. And that's related to a couple of the things happening within the artistic scene right now that we're going to talk about today. Stuart, it's very pleasurable to have you with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
So for people who don't know you or what work you do, could you just give us a brief background as to what sort of things you're up to and how you got into it?
Sure. I'm basically a contemporary artist. I'm a visual artist, and that's been my job or profession, if you like, for about 15 years. So I'm predominantly a painter, so I make paintings, and I kind of do exhibitions all over the world of those. And done some public art projects, a piece called Happy Cloud, where I let off thousands of smiley face clouds from the Tate Modern a few years ago that I've repeated around the world. So kind of public art, painting, sometimes a bit of sculpture. But I use the internet a lot as kind of a medium or a space or an exhibition area, something like that, a way to engage the public. So yeah, I guess from the painting side of things, I've been developing my own paints for most of the 15 years I've been kind of painting, I suppose. So there's a side to my practice which is very much about that alchemy and the creation of different potions and materials to use in my work.
And that's recently come to the forefront over the last, shall we say, couple of months, couple of years, because there's been quite a controversial thing that's happening in the artistic scene related to one specific color of paint. Could you just let us know what's happening there and why it's a bit controversial?
Yeah, sure. So basically, there's a company called Surrey Nanosystems out of the UK who've created an incredible substance which is called Vantablack. This substance is the blackest black on the planet. And what makes it the blackest black is the fact it absorbs something like 99.9% of all light. The effect of that is you coat something in this stuff and it almost looks like a black hole. It loses all form and all shape. It's amazing stuff. It was originally designed to be used kind of for engineering applications, coating the inside of telescopes, looking into deep space, that kind of thing. But an artist called Mr Kapoor, and for those of you who don't know, he's a really big artist, very important artist, makes giant public sculptures like the Bean in Chicago. He got exclusive rights to use this in art, which meant that no other artists could work with Surrey Nanosystems on any other artistic projects. Although everyone else could. So graphic designers could, musicians could, luxury brands could, but only one artist could. And that didn't sit very well with the artistic community. They felt excluded, that it was elitist, and the fact that Anish had all this money and wealth and power enabled him to do it, and it wasn't fair on everybody else. So that kind of is what happened there.
And I've written an article about Vantablack previously. It is a fascinating substance, and if people are struggling to imagine what it's like, imagine that if you were to take any three-dimensional object that has grooves and ridges on it, like someone's face, and you paint it in the substance, more or less no light can be reflected off it, so it just looks two-dimensional instead of three-dimensional, and it's a very, very strange sensation. And as you said, this Vantablack is only now allowed to be used by one artist. But the controversy is a little bit between the fact, from my understanding, that you can only really use Vantablack if it's applied in an incredibly precise, sort of very scientific way. Is that the case?
Yeah, so that's also part of it. It needs to be applied by the creators. They're the only ones who know how to do it, really. They're working on other versions that they might be able to teach other people to use, but at the minute, really, Surrey Nanosystems need to coat your thing with it for you. But that's not strange in the art world. We use fabricators all the time. If you want to make a giant aluminium sculpture, you don't make it yourself. It's fabricated off-site. Same as like bronze casting, complicated picture framing, a lot of installation work. Artists use fabricators or off-site technicians to make stuff all the time. It's very normal in this day and age. So what's strange about this one is that Surrey Nanosystems are refusing to work with artists.
But the question then becomes, is it not one artist's right, if they are the first person to see something and want to try it out for themselves, to be able to say, okay, this is going to be kind of my thing? This is maybe where the controversy comes. I know a long time ago there was another artist who had his own color. I can't remember exactly what his name is, but I think it was Klein, and he had Klein blue, and no other artists were allowed to use this same color.
Okay. All right. Okay. So two things. We'll talk about Yves Klein blue in a minute.
Okay.
Because it is interesting and it's very different, and there's a lot of misunderstandings around what that actually was. So we'll deal with that. But the first thing is, just because you get their fur. I mean, the thing with art is everybody's got their own expression. I can give a stick of charcoal to my son and he makes a drawing. I can give it to Picasso, he makes a different drawing. It's not the substance. The thing with art is what you use it for. I mean, Anish Kapoor's work is Anish Kapoor's work. If Banksy made something with that stuff, it would be incredibly different. So it's sort of, to the art community, like our side of it is he's trying to monopolize the material. It's the material that's special, not necessarily the conception of what he wants to do with it. So we think this is a bit unfair because we've all got ideas of things we'd like to make with this wicked stuff, and if we can afford to use it and work with Surrey Nanosystems, why can't we? We see it as prejudicial, almost as if someone opened a coffee shop and refused to serve artists in it. There would be uproar. It's very similar to that kind of thing. So we don't feel like he needs to monopolize it in order to make awesome stuff with it. Like my fabricators could make something for Jeff Koons, Damien Hirst and me, and we'd all make completely different stuff. So, and also that exclusivity doesn't go the other way. So they're not going to work with just one car manufacturer or just one fashion designer. So it's odd like that. So that's our take on it. I mean, they've got other arguments. And then looking at the Yves Klein thing, actually, it was really different because he created that colour. So Anish Kapoor hasn't created this colour. He's licensed the use of the colour. And that particular tone of Yves Klein blue was a conceptual work. Like the colour creation itself was his art. And he didn't actually patent it. It's a misconception. He went through the first stage of that. And actually since then, loads of people have used it for all sorts of things. Anish Kapoor himself used it recently, and the Blue Man Group use it, etc. So it was a different thing.
And I understand that you obviously feel very passionately about this concept of wanting other people to be able to express themselves with this deep black. And you've had an interesting way of responding to it. Can you let us know a bit about that?
Yeah, so as I said, I've been creating my own materials for a long time, and one of them that came out of that creation process was a pink, a very specific pink that's what I call the pinkest pink in the world. It's incredibly pink. It's the pinkest thing most people have ever seen, I think. And I had it, and I thought, actually, do you know what? I'm just as bad as him because I've got these awesome things I've made and I'm keeping them just for my own work. So why don't I put them out? So I put the pink out on the internet, almost as a piece of performance art, a piece of conceptual work. And I made it so that if you bought the pink, you had to sign a disclaimer that you weren't Anish Kapoor, you weren't going to share the pink with Anish Kapoor. and to the best of your knowledge, information and belief, it wasn't going to make its way into the hands of Anish Kapoor. What that did was it kind of took on a life of its own at that point, and people thought that was quite funny, and it kind of caused a bit of a stir, really, and it kind of ultimately ended up with Anish Kapoor actually getting the pink, and then he dipped his middle finger in it, and he stuck his finger up on Instagram, and then kind of all hell broke loose at that point.
Do you actually have a sample for people who are watching the video? I know it's going to be quite hard to do it over people listening to the podcast, but if you go to Idea to Value, you can see the video of the interview.
Yes.
Could we see a bit of the pink?
You can see the pink here.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, your screen can't show you the pink because it's too bright, but this is a pot of pink, and I just call it pink because I hate pretentious names for stuff. Call things what they are.
Yeah.
You know, a bean's a bean and pink's pink. And yeah.
For people who haven't seen it, I'm wearing what I'd classify as my pink polo shirt. And compared to that, what you've just held up looks 1,000 times pinker. But apparently no one watching this video can actually understand quite how pink it is, because the screens and the cameras that we're using to record color don't actually go up to that level of intensity. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a screen can't show it. And the other thing is it's activated when you add water to it. So what I've just shown you looks bright, but when you add water to it, it gets even brighter. So, yeah, I mean, basically your screen, the pixels can only go up to 255, they're between 0 and 255. And the other thing is pixels, this is interesting, it's all red, green and blue dots. And this is pure colour. So you don't see pure colour. That's why you need to go to art museums and look at real paintings, because screens can't do it. Yeah.
I mean, it's been fascinating speaking with you about these specific colors, but I know a lot of people listening are probably very interested in your creative process as well. So can you let us know a bit about how you approach producing art, and sort of whether or not you have any steps you go through, or what happens when you get a bit stuck? Can you just let us know a bit about how you approach that work?
Yeah, as an artist, so, I mean, we all get creative blocks, I think. It's part and parcel of the process. And if we didn't sort of fight those edges of things, I don't think good work would be made. But I think for me, it comes through working. I work through those blockages, and the first few things I make after that happens, I've got to kind of live with the fact they're going to be a bit rubbish, and then hope that some sort of momentum gets in. And once you've got momentum in the work that you're creating, then it kind of starts to take on a life of its own or suggest other ideas. And I'm one of these people who kind of believes that the ideas are out there to be landed on us rather than we come up with them. It's not that I'm clever, it's just that I pick up on things and take action on them. And I try and put myself in as open as possible space to do that. And tips and things that help me, I meditate every morning, and that gets me into a really open-minded space. And I find I have quite good ideas when I'm more centered.
In your mind, is it more about finding the right ideas, or is it about then taking those ideas and pushing through the initial, as you say, crap version and refining it until it's something beautiful?
Yeah, it's like, it could be either thing. Like every now and then you'll get a flash of an idea and you're like, oh, there's one, I've got one. And it's really exciting, and it just drives you through whatever hell you have to go through to realize the thing, because the idea just pulls you. Other times they're softer and they kind of evolve as you go through the process. And that's quite exciting as well, because you don't kind of know what's going to happen. So it could be either.
Do you have any difference between the way that you approach work that's initiated by your own ideas, shall I say, your own passion to create something, and then work that you might be doing on behalf of someone else who's giving you the framework or the actual idea that they want you to execute? Do you ever do work on behalf of other people like that?
Very rarely. Very, very rarely. And I have done in the past. And you know what? It's always come out really badly. Because, you know, we see things differently. And I find that I struggle to convey ideas before they're real. So I might be describing it, but until it's a real thing, everyone's got their own imagination or their own idea of what that thing's going to be. And actually, quite often it's very different than what's in my head. And it can kind of distract from where I'm trying to go. So I quite like to make things and put them out there and just kind of see what happens. And I'm very lucky because my audience is an internet audience. It's not necessarily mediated through a gallery. So I have a very direct relationship with the people that see and interact with the things that I do. And that's a really beautiful thing. So that's kind of the litmus test, if you like, if something works or not. And I always have that in mind, the audience, make it for them.
Speaking of the audience and the people out there who aren't necessarily artists themselves, can we talk a little bit about the creativity of everyone and the creativity of other people? Because I know a lot of people that I speak to, they get very frustrated by their own inability to paint beautiful pictures or sing perfectly, or dance or write a symphony, and that leads them to believe that they're not creative or not artistic. And that might then also lead them to not wanting to share their ideas in other forms of either work or their personal life. What's your view on creativity overall, and whether or not people can either develop it, enhance it, or push through those things holding them back?
Well, I think the first thing is that we can talk about creativity or we can talk about self-expression, and I think they're different. I think self-expression is really, really important, actually. To create something, to share something of ourselves with other people is something that's intrinsic in us as human beings, and something that, in a way, we've forgotten how to do. And it's things like the education system kicking it out of us when we draw a cat badly when we're 5 years old, or me getting chucked out of the choir when I was 7 because I sent everybody else off tune. It's kind of, there's a social idea that you have to be good at it in order to be able to do it. And I actually think there's something more important than that, which is doing it at all. I think doing it at all is actually really good for us as a species. And I don't think you have to be particularly gifted. I think that, yes, of course, there are people throughout history who are fantastic painters. Of course, we're not as good as Picasso, but does that mean we shouldn't share ourselves in some sort of creative way? No, I don't think so. I think we need to connect with some form of self-expression, whether that's podcasting, writing, drawing, having a conversation with our neighbours. It's really, really important. And we find actually that people get quite unwell when they stop doing that.
Do you ever feel the sense of anxiety that a lot of these people might feel before you are about to release a new painting? Or are you always pretty confident that, yeah, everyone's going to love this?
I'm never confident. I don't take it for granted. You know, I feel very lucky when something I've done so many things that haven't worked, but I'm not scared of getting it wrong and looking like an idiot either, which is why I think on some rare occasions I've got it right. And you have to take the rough with the smooth. You know, you're not going to get to be a good skateboarder if you don't want to fall off. It just doesn't work like that. So, yeah, you've got to get it wrong more times than you get it right. And every now and then you might have something that sticks or people enjoy.
Stuart, we're coming up to the end of the interview. It's been wonderful speaking with you. Where
Yeah,
can
and you.
people go to find out more about your work, or if they might be interested in your
Sure.
paint color or other colors?
Yeah, so if you're interested in the paint and the art materials, then culturehustle.com is the place for that. And if you're interested in kind of my wider work, take a look at stuartsemple.com, which is my website, or Instagram. It's probably pretty good, Stuart Semple on Instagram. Yeah.
Stuart, it's been wonderful speaking with you, and I look forward to speaking again with you soon.
Yeah, and you, thank you.
Today's episode was made possible by members of our premium Deep Creativity Training Program. For less than the price of half a candy bar per day, you too can get world-exclusive daily exercises which push your creativity past its comfort barrier to make you better able to generate ideas in all aspects of your life and work. Invest in yourself now by going to www.ideatovalue.com/deepcreativity and using coupon code PODCAST for 25% off your first order. And don't forget that if you found this episode interesting, to like and share it, and to leave us a review in your favorite podcast player. See you again in the next episode.